WIBTA if I found my ex's biological parents? I, 32F, have a daughter, 2.5F, with my ex, 38 meters. He's adopted and my daughter has only been around his adoptive parents a few times. They don't ask about her. They don't acknowledge her birthday or Christmas, and it's very clear they want nothing to do with her. Their loss entirely. Issue is, I come from a big family. My mom is one of 12. So growing up, I always had cousins around. I do have 2 nieces, 9F, 13F, and an extremely handicapped nephew, 15 meters. But they're so far apart in age. I don't feel like my daughter will have the same experience growing up. My dad is an only child, and I do not know any of my extended family on my dad's side. My own grandfather has never acknowledged my sister and I, let alone any of our kids. So my kiddo has me, my sister, my parents, her 3 cousins and my paternal grandmother. My mom only speaks to 2 of her living siblings and I'm no longer close to any of my cousins. My ex is pretty adamant that he has no interest in finding his biological parents. And of course I would respect his wishes if he doesn't want anything to do with them. But I would like to meet them and allow my daughter to meet any aunties and uncles and cousins she might have from her dad's side of the family, if for no reason other than knowing their medical histories. WIBTA if I got one of those ancestors tests and tried to track down my ex's bio family? ETA. There are so many people here making half-assed assumptions. For more context, his bio dad contested the adoption, but his adoptive parents threw their money around until he couldn't afford to fight anymore. That came straight out of his mother's mouth. He doesn't see adoption as a trauma, just a fact of life for him. He's not close at all with his adoptive family, so I don't even think he understands the dynamics of actually being a part of one. We've talked about this before, and while he personally has no interest in seeking them out, he has never once said he didn't want me to. He said it was more or less my choice if I wanted to try to find them. So I'm not even asking in the context of betraying my ex or hurting him. He doesn't care. I'm just aware that it could potentially affect the lives of many people, and I'm not trying to blow anyone's life up. I just want my child to know where she comes from genetically. Because I've lived in her shoes. I know what it's like to have only half of a family full of dysfunction and generational trauma. I don't want that for her. ETA 2. To all those asking why my mother is only in contact with 2 of her siblings. It's because she only has 3 brothers and 2 sisters who are still alive. Most of my cousins moved, are in jail, became right-wing fundamentalists, or are on meth or heroin. I'm not looking for a replacement family or trying to recreate my childhood with my daughter. Regardless of the delusional BS some of you are projecting onto me. I've had 2.5 years to get one of these tests done. And it was a conversation we started having before I was even pregnant. If I wanted to go behind his back and betray his trust, I've had plenty of opportunities. Thanks for dogpiling on me, misrepresenting what I said, projecting your negative experiences onto my situation, and calling me names like crazy and cold. I'm no longer able to respond to comments, but thanks to the people who actually read my entire post and offered constructive feedback. It's worrisome that there are so few of you left on this subreddit in particular. YTA. Absolutely not. As an adopted child, if my partner or ex-partner ever contacted my biological family without consent, I'd be livid. Like scorched earth livid. Your ex already said he has no interest in them. If you insert yourself into that storyline and dredge up who knows what, then you'll absolutely be the villain. Do you know if it was a closed adoption? Do you know why he was adopted? Do you have any idea how hard it is for 99% of parents who put their kids up for adoption to cope with the loss of their child or the circumstances that led up to them putting their kid up for adoption? You chose to have a child with someone who has a disinterested family. That's on you. This is incredibly misguided and irresponsibly optimistic. You would be a massive awe for going behind his back and finding his biological family. I'm adopted. I had no interest in finding my biological family. And my husband and I argued about it a lot. I would be furious if someone went behind my back and found them. It's a moot point now. Because biofamily found me instead. The jackasses. Do not do this. It is not your place. WIBTA. Yes, WIBTA. You aren't doing this for medical reasons. That I could understand. You are doing this because of something you want. Your child can be perfectly happy with a small family, as well as building friendships that become your family. This would be a complete violation to your ex and would permanently damage your relationship and cause him unnecessary harm. If he ever wants to find his bio parents, that should be his choice. WIBTA, you are doing it for selfish reasons. You want your child to grow up in some idyllic world with lots of family. And yet, if family was so important, why aren't you still close with all those cousins you grew up with? Rather than dreaming of her living your childhood, why don't you work to make her childhood good for her without overstepping your bounds? Family isn't just blood. Build a family right there in your community. WIBTA. Huge WIBTA. Being blood related doesn't make them family. They are not his family or your family, so why make them your daughter's family while also hurting your ex in the process if this isn't something he's not ready for or wants to do? It feels cruel and selfish. If it's so important, try asking him if he'd be okay with that. If yes, go on. If no, then stop right there. Yes. WIBTA. It is his family. His choice. Do not ever go behind someone's back. You can't keep this a secret from him anyway, and it's wrong. Don't even figure out their names. It's not your business. WIBTA. What exactly makes these people grandparents to your child? They have no relationship with any of her parents and have no interest in having one. Mind your own business and cut it out. WIBTA. This is a major boundary violation for your ex. It is great you want your daughter to have a good childhood, but this is barking up the wrong tree. You can't create cousins she doesn't have, or make familial bonds appear over shared DNA even if big if these people want to connect. Instead, you can create a found family and friends network, join parenting groups, host events for kids your daughter's age, enroll her in activities she enjoys, and encourage her to meet people her own age. Even if she did have the cousins you had, your own situation shows that family can scatter as life comes and goes. But teaching her and encouraging her to find like-minded people and make her own community will mean she won't be alone. And neither will you. WIBTA. It's not your life. Not to mention, it is your ex. Stay out of his life. You are doing this for selfish reasons because you want your daughter to grow up to have a big family. This is all about your wants and expectations. If it really were about the medical history, you would have led with that. But you didn't. Butt out. If your daughter wants to find her other side of the family, that's a conversation she can have with her father when she is older. WIBTA. As an adoptee who has met my biological parents, I can assure you that these sorts of meetings rarely have the fairy tale ending you are fantasizing about. You would also be violating their privacy and your ex's privacy. WIBTA. This is not appropriate because they are going to want to know about their son. That is if they even want to be found. And it doesn't sound like he wants anything to do with them. Then invariably you're going to start talking about him in conversation. telling them things that he may not want you to share. It's his private life and you have no business sharing any information about him. There's no guarantee they're good people. You could open yourself and your ex up to more trouble than it's worth. And without giving them any info about their son, I see no reason why they'd want to continue a relationship. I wouldn't. In fact, I'd find it odd and kinda creepy, and I'd assume that you're looking for money. Second, it's just weird and disrespectful to go behind his back and open that communication when he doesn't want it. I would be pissed if I was him. How do you think this is going to go? Your child isn't even their kid. Yes, they might be interested in their own son, but without that connection I doubt they would be as welcoming. At least not to the extent you are seeking. Furthermore, you said you have cousins you've lost touch with. Well, why don't you rekindle those relationships? Even if your mom doesn't speak to any of her siblings, you can still rekindle a relationship with your cousins. At least it's your own family. You're using this excuse that you grew up in a big family as a reason to insert yourself into these strangers' lives when you have 11 other uncles and aunts around with kids that you don't talk to. And if you can't talk to these people, then why is that? You have your dad's side who doesn't talk to your family, and your mom only talks to 2 of her siblings out 10. Sorry, but this seems like your family is the common denominator here, and that makes me suspicious that your family is the problem. I feel like there is a lot of drama buried in your family dynamics. And now you want to start some drama by going behind your ex's back and find his bio parents. Because you think they can provide a bigger family for your 2.5 years old daughter? Just don't. Your child doesn't need them, and neither do you. Unless your ex wants to reach out. It's none of your business. WIBTA. He's not interested, and you want your child to have the large, happy family experience you did. He set a boundary when he told you that what you want to do is driven by fantasies and selfishness. Why potentially open up old wounds for his biological father? Or your ex? The potential to cause a lot of pain to people outweighs your need for the big happy family. Why don't you just ask your ex if he has a problem with it? Info. Have you told him you want to research his bio family so they can meet with y'all's daughter? Not general questions, but a pointed, no room for misinterpretation question. What did he say? My ex is pretty adamant that he has no interest in finding his biological parents. That's it. Go against his wishes and YTA. Wow. This could really blow up in your face. If you do this without his knowledge, you could be causing yourself quite a bit of heartache. If you do it, meet his birth family. What's to guarantee they won't contact him? I think WIBTA to do this against his wishes. You need to back off of this and discuss this with your ex. Before doing anything, he needs to be the driving force behind any reaching out. You're doing this for selfish reasons. So your daughter has more related playmates? And that it's good to know family medical history, while perhaps useful, is the red herring that you're dangling out there to justify this massive breach of privacy that you're planning. WIBTA. Talk to your ex about your wishes. If he really is game to go down this path, go down it with him. But don't do it on your own. So I have just to ask, what does saying that your nephew is extremely handicapped have to do with your issue? I don't know you from Adam, but it's just weird to me that you felt the need to put that in there, when your nephew's disability doesn't have anything to do with the story. YTA. Extremely so. Your child does not need to have the same experience you did, and for you to disrespect your child's father by doing this, you'd be imposing in a terroristic way. YTA. Your ex explicitly told you he doesn't want to find his bio parents. What makes you think you have the right to do it? Why can't you be happy with the family you have? It's not about quantity. It's about quality.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.